With Season 2 of Dr. Stone, one thing I was really hoping would happen, which I didn't think would because I didn't see Chrome getting kidnapped as a possibility, but when it happened, I was like, well, of course. And even when he did get kidnapped, I still didn't think this would happen. And what I really wanted to see with Stone Wars, or hopefully in a future arc, was Chrome getting his chance to shine without Senku's aid. Because he's a smart character. He's goofy, he's ridiculous, but he is a smart character. That's one of the things that Senku appreciated about Chrome when he first met him. He was a science user in the making. He was someone who was fascinated about the unknown. And with all the teachings, all of the findings that these two have done together, every time there's been a problem, Senku is the one to usually initiate it. And if Chrome gets the ability to kind of start the magic, Senku's the one who finishes it. So in an episode like this, if Chrome and Senku were in the same prison cell, you would see them both have some ideas, and within probably the first attempt, Senku would get them out of that cage. But Chrome's alone. Chrome doesn't want to wait because if he waits, they will all be screwed and they'll probably lose whatever secret weapon they have at their disposal. So Chrome does what I've been waiting for. He solves the issue by himself. Granted, you could say, well, he got the battery from best pals, but at the same time, getting a little bit of aid in terms of giving you a tool that, unless you really know how to work it, I wouldn't say he really got help in the traditional sense. If he was snuck in a shovel and dug his way out, sure, you could say he didn't do it by himself. But by giving him a battery, which a battery in a cage with nothing else around you, no one in their right mind is going to be able to escape this bamboo prison. But a man who understands that salt water, so salt water is not around, sweats all night by working out, fills it up, and he's able to use the battery and the salt water to make an acid to burn away the rope, which is pretty shitty rope, but good enough to keep a prisoner in a Stone Age setting secure. He's able to escape. And he knocks out unaware guards, and he pole jumps, he knows where the traps is, and when someone actually comes to stop him, he uses intelligence and wit to outplay them by making him think that he has an incurable disease, spits it all over him as he uses just general plants around that he collected when he was going number 2 by their perspective. He was able to escape in a very believable, genuine, and Chrome-like way. While Senku probably would have done it a bit cleaner and done it a bit faster, it doesn't change the fact that this was a moment to really show you that this isn't a man being dragged along by another's intelligence. He's following in his footsteps so that one day he can hopefully surpass him. And I firmly believe Senku thinks that, if he ends up going out anytime soon, that Chrome will have no issue carrying on his legacy. He thought that back in Season 1, but it's even more clear after Season 2 and this amazing, amazing episode. There was so much humor, it was so wacky, but I think it was so perfect. You introduce a policeman who is, honestly, you understand why he got fired. He's like, I'm just killing the bad guys, there's no issues. And seeing him now in a Stone Age setting where killing the bad guys can be seen as A-okay if they escape, I really like that, and I honestly felt like the direction they were going to go, because there are some amazing moments with this guy. The whole mockery where he originally starts trying to burn the ropes and stuff like that, and then when he actually does start the fire with the battery, he's thinking to himself, oh, this guy thinks he's a big science user, but he thinks, starting a fire with some twigs is science. And Chrome, despite his natural instinct saying, I'm a science user, look at my magic basically, he lets him think he's an idiot so he can make his escape. What I thought was going to happen when he kind of called his bluff, at least I thought that was what was going to happen. He's starting to cough up blood. I thought he was chewing on his cheek a little too hard. And based on the fact that we're in a show where you have a character who can lift a tree out of their just roots, I mean, it wouldn't be shocking if they can have anime blood be a gimmick. But instead, they went the direction of him saying no amount of blood could come out of your cheek by just a simple cut. So what's happening? And he does this whole kind of facade of being like, I have an incurable disease, and he blows it on him. But before that, I actually thought what was going to happen was what he was building up to was, I have an incurable disease, I'm dying anyway, let me go. And he was going to have a change of heart. Because despite him killing bad guys, it also feels like he did believe in the law for good people. So if this is just a dumb science user who's going to die in 3 days, and by the looks of it, he actually is dying, then he'd let him go. But they went a much more interesting route by making him actually knock him out by hitting him in the nads. And I'm like, you know what, Dr. Stone? That's what I love about you. It makes you think you know what's going to happen. You think, okay, Chrome, he's going to get rescued. Oh, Chrome's going to escape by himself. How's he going to escape? He's going to set it on fire and do some goofy shenanigans. But They constantly play with your perspective and your knowledge of what Dr. Stone is and wants to be. And by the end of the episode, you're just looking and you're proud of him. You're saying, this could have easily been a show where Senku is the only intelligent character and a bunch of dumb stone men and women are following in his footsteps because look at fire, we've never seen that before. But instead, they let these characters follow alongside Senku and grow alongside Senku. So even though, Senku as a character, he doesn't change all that much. He believes in friends and family, and he believes in science. He has basically an encyclopedia in his head of math and maps and how to do all these things. But all these other characters get to change following in a person who gets to speedrun humanity back into the modern age rather than taking thousands and thousands of years. And even when Senku's dead, you know that his legacy will be able to be carried on. And you know damn well, as long as Senku doesn't die in the war, he's going to prepare it so the future generations will have all of the knowledge inside his head. I kind of imagine that once Senku reaches a point of he's satisfied with his village, he's going to just draw up blueprints and diagrams for the next generations. His retirement will be 10 to 20 years of just saying, hey, here's an idea, go make it for me, as he makes other ideas, so in case he dies in his sleep, there's still a way to progress humanity. Though, you also know he's the type of person who wants to go to space, but even if he doesn't get to go there, it doesn't feel like no one's ever going to go to space again. Someone will, and imagine if it was Chrome kind of carrying on his legacy. I love this episode because it was definitely one of the funnier episodes of Dr. Stone, not even just of Season 2. I think it kind of matches some of the peak comedy in Season 1. The faces, the mockery, but the fact that Chrome actually bit his tongue, made sure that he didn't lash out like the others feared he would, which is why they're trying to rush in order to protect him, because one, you want your friend back, but two, you don't want him spilling your secrets. But he showed a lot of restraint, he showed a lot of maturity, and he showed that Chrome isn't the same character he once was. While he still has his same personality in terms of being wacky and absurd, he understands the importance of being mature when it counts, and used everything at his disposal. When he started stuffing his pants with twigs and leaves, it sounds so stupid, and he knew he wasn't going to escape with that, but the idea that some of the plants he had was able to make a mockery out of blood, basically. And then he used the battery. It feels like the way he got to his escape makes total sense, and there's nothing in this episode that you could look at and say anime convenience. The idea of how he got the battery makes sense. It's not like the police officer let him go because he got fooled by a dying man's wish. He used that death in order to make him fearful, got him off guard, hit him in the nads, and got the hell out of Dodge. I love that about the show, is that while sometimes you can say there's convenience, this episode I think covered its tracks, I would argue one of the best we've seen. This was an engaging episode, this was an incredible episode, and as someone who really likes Chrome as a character, even if you didn't like him, this was his moment to shine and say he doesn't need Senku to always hold his hand. While holding his hand is going to get him places quicker, he does have the intelligence to do things in a realistic way for someone who's naturally curious and intelligent, and by having a mentor as strong as Senku, it makes sense that he got to where he did. I'm really curious to see what the Stone Wars is going to look like with next week's episode, because while I figured he probably would escape in this episode, hopefully anyway, I'm curious to see now that they don't know he has a vehicle for sure, they won't have to go into the traps, they'll still be able to do it. They can ram down Tsukasa's front door, and what are they going to do to stop it? There's obviously still going to be more tricks up their sleeve, but for an episode where last week Tsukasa one-upped someone like Senku, this week, a clueless dolt such as Chrome, by the looks of many people, was able to one-up this giant army, and now can feed the intel to someone like Senku, not get caught off guard. And now the team of science is definitely on the path to victory. I love this about the show. It's street smarts versus book smart. But honestly, Chrome had a little street smarts in his pockets this week, so the playing fields are getting a little more level again. Amazing episode as per usual, but let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What do you think, and where do you think it's going to go with next week's episode? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.